Hi, John. It took me forever to get this video up, and I don't really know why. I was just really distracted by other things. But as I have recently told you, I am possibly going to Wales to study Arthurian lore and poetry, which is basically my dream. I'm going to start out with this. I will eventually get into my question to you, which is about sacred geometry. But going back to your coincidences thing, it was kind of weird. I have recently been kind of thinking about what I stand for and what I dislike about the way the world works. And what I came to understand was that I think I stand for freedom. I want the ability to be free. I want to be able to go outside and walk somewhere and just have an adventure. And that's really hard to do in this day and age where everything is based on money. I am almost definitely never going to have the money to travel extensively in Europe like I would want to. But I told you, and I'll tell the internet for anybody who watches this, a couple weeks ago, I interviewed at a press, and they were actually looking for a PhD person, and I only had my bachelor's, so it didn't really work out that well. But I talked to the owner for a very long time, and he basically decided that I was his reincarnation. Like, he thinks we're very similar, we have the same ideas on things. And we got down to talking about language and poetry and Beowulf and Arthurian lore, and he told me he couldn't offer me the job they were hiring for, but then he called me a couple of days later and he said, I know this really great man in Toronto who runs a vocational school, and I'd like to get you tested there. It'd be about $3,000. I'll pay for it, take you up to Toronto, and we'll see where we go from there. So I was like, well, that sounds really cool and very kind of you, so thank you very much. So we're beginning to plan that, and today I received a random call from him, and he basically said, we have a European branch, and you've studied 3 languages, you've never been out of North America, and I think that would be a really good thing for you. I spent my youth with travel scholarships just kind of wandering around Europe and doing things. So basically, he's offering to let me live in his European cottage in Wales for at least 3 months, and I will study with a poetics professor there and be a part of the Presbyterian ministry over there, because I actually go to a Presbyterian church. And it was kind of a ridiculous dream come true. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about the Raven Cycle, John. I know I've talked a little bit about it, but my favorite character, Richard Campbell Gansey III, basically is looking for a sleeping king like Arthur. He's looking for Glendower. And this has kind of been my dream forever. When I read Susan Cooper's The Darkest Rising, the Raven King takes place, not the Raven King, the Grey King takes place in Wales, and they're over there, and that kind of ignited my love of Arthurian lore and just Europe and Wales. My dad's from Budapest. Like, this is just a ridiculous dream come true. So back to the coincidences of this story. After my party this weekend that you couldn't come to, you bum, I was cleaning up, and Ashley, our good friend, was sleeping on the couch. And while I was cleaning, I wanted to listen to classical music. So I remembered this piece of music that is in 1Q84, the Haruki Murakami novel I read. And it's called Le Mal du Pays, which I guess would literally translate to the melancholy of countries, but it more means homesickness. I believe it's an idiomatic expression, that's what it means. That it translates to homesickness directly. And I was thinking about how homesickness and freedom kind of coincide. I've never been free enough to actually be homesick. I've never been far enough away to be gone for more than a week and not be stressing about money. So it was kind of a weird coincidence that as I'm thinking about these things, out of the blue, I get a call saying, hey, do you want to go to Wales? Yeah, kind of. It's on days like this where I can kind of see like that maybe there is a divine guiding force that's leading you towards what you want to do in life, or what you should do. It's kind of ridiculous. So back to sacred geometry. I actually don't know very much about it. I know what I know from the Black Tapes podcast, which we both love, and another YouTube channel I found a while ago called Spirit Science, and I'll link you to the video about it. It's kind of weird. The guy makes some real interesting points. A lot of his videos are kind of outlandish and I think don't really have much basis, but I think it's interesting because it gives your mind new ways to explore. It's just things I had never even considered before, things he talks about. And what makes them really interesting to me is it reminds me of how language works, because when you learn a new language, you're literally learning new ways of thinking. Like, it unlocks new ways of your parts of your mind you don't think of in that way, and then you start to grow. So the basis of sacred geometry is that God has created a universal code for the universe. Every single thing can be explained through math, and if we could figure out all the math, we could unravel all the secrets of the universe and all that good stuff. So basically, there's really interesting shapes like the golden ratio, the flower of life, Metatron's cube, and people claim that out of these shapes you can make every tangible thing we see in the universe, or maybe even intangible. I don't know enough, but there's all this stuff to explore in math. And as a more scientific person than I am, I wonder what your opinion was on how the sacred geometry exists or doesn't exist, what you think, if it's real, if it works, if there are mathematical principles that we just can't understand because we don't know enough about math, or maybe we're just not God and we can't understand all of the physics. Maybe we don't have enough senses. We've talked about that. I would just want to know your opinion on that. I'm kind of freaking out because I might be going to Wales, so I don't really know what to do anymore. But sorry it took so long to get this video up. Let me know what you think. Pose me another question because I'm excited, and I'm out.